And strategic to that for me is really engaging with my clients emotionally. And most of the interaction I do with them, I try to engage them emotionally. And that's kind of my first, that's my first method with them, is really trying to understand where they're coming from, what experiences led them, you know, into the meeting that I'm having with them, into the interview process.
And I share with them that I might ask them questions that might make them feel uncomfortable. And I tell them it's only so I can get to know you better. I don't want to have any misinterpretations.
To establish a good working relationship, I have to meet with my families in the initial stages many times. And it's when we say home visit, sometimes home visit is not just 1 hour or 2 hours. Some of that home visit might be meeting the aunts and the extended family members. It might be showing our clients how to engage in referrals by actually picking up the phone and actually saying, this is what you need to ask. Especially when a lot of our families are monolingual Spanish speaking, I think that the barriers, they need to be shown more hands-on.
In working with our clients, we're already at a disadvantage because many of our clientele that are here in the United States are here with undocumented status. So already they have some reservations about working with authority figures. So it's really important that we establish that trust. One of the things that I do is I sit down with my client when I first meet them. If it happens to be in court, I'll walk them through the court system, introduce them to the interpreters, introduce them to the attorneys, also introduce them to legal advocates for children and youth, which at this time represents the minors, because many people don't know the court system, but specific to our clients, they don't even know the language, so they can't even, it's difficult for them to try to ask for help or try to have someone show them around the court if they don't know, how to speak English. So it's really good to remain cognizant of that when you're working with your clients.
When I'm talking to the women, it's sometimes, you got to be like it's weird, like a comadre. We're having women talk, girl talk. So many things in common. The responsibility in bearing the children. We'll talk about the stretch marks, the 9 months of carrying the child, and how important it is. And then the father, a lot of dads, I tell them they're the breadwinners. And I tell them, I share with them that I admire that.
For example, I spent all day with that mother at VMC during that dialysis, modeling different techniques so that when she no longer has a social worker or when I cannot go to the appointment, that I'm teaching her how to engage the doctors and the nurses, having her write down questions in advance and writing down the answers when she does speak to the nurses and doctors. But for example, that takes a lot of time, additional effort, so that in the future, when that mother is by herself and no longer has services, that she will know how to protect and care and provide medical care for her child.
So the things we do point out is the respect, and that's something that we should always remember. We are in their home, and we need to respect that. When I go into a home, I shake their hand, and I thank them for allowing me to come into their home. And then before I leave, I always apologize if I misstated something, and before I go, I like to apologize if I said something out of context that you found offensive. I apologize. I do not find it offensive for you to correct me in Spanish.
Also take advantage of those opportunities that you have when you conduct your home visits. Sit down with your clients. You're in their territory, you're in their home, and that's where they feel most comfortable. Your conversation doesn't have to focus all about the case plan and what they need to do. Find out a little bit about your client. ask them a little bit about their family history. You know, spend a little extra time on those visits, and you know, let them know you're just a regular person like anybody else that's helping them walk through this difficult process.